Hey everyone, today we're going to have a look at how to play all of the classic and wonderful David Gilmour solo-y bits in Pink Floyd's classic track Dogs from the band's 1977 album Animals. We're basically looking at three distinct and separate guitar solos and one kind of repeating melody line, interlude I suppose, that's played a couple of times throughout the track. You can check out all of these solo-y bits in my performance over backing track down below in the description box if you like. We are oddly enough not in standard tuning with this one. We are tuned down one full step to D, a bit of a rarity for David Gilmour, which ultimately means really loose and floppy strings. So be extra careful with those bends. And there are a heck of a lot of them to contend with, so be forewarned. Regardless, here is the tuning. All right then, let's get at this. Part one, the first solo, which comes in at about the 1 minute 45 second mark of the track. But first up, we're going to talk quickly about tone. There's a lot of fuzz going on here, as you could probably hear. David Gilmour at the time used an Electro-Harmonix Big Muff fuzz to generate his fuzz tones during the mid to late 70s. And so a lot of fuzz. Of course, you're going to have delay with David Gilmour and reverb. For three of these solos, he also ran his guitar through a Leslie amplifier, a Leslie speaker, rotating speaker, to give this kind of warbly effect, all except for the middle guitar solo, the longest main guitar solo, which is known as the clean solo, where he turned off this effect, also turned off some of the delay and a little less reverb. But all of the other solos have this kind of warble going on from, I believe it was a Yamaha amplifier with a Leslie rotating speaker. Live, he used an Electro-Harmonix Electric Mistress, which is kind of a flanger chorus pedal. And so any kind of flanger chorus will give you the same kind of warbly tremolo effect that you're looking for 3 out of the 4 of these solos. So let's close in here on the guitar neck. Have a look at the first solo. All right, the first solo. We're working mostly in the D minor scale, using both the D natural minor and the Dorian mode. And I'm going to just quickly show you the difference between those two. So we're working in the 12th fret position right here, which normally you would think of as E minor, but since we're tuned down one full step, it's actually D minor. Bottom 3-4 strings, this is kind of the D natural minor. Right there. So we're going to be working in that scale a lot right here at the 12th fret position. He also dips into the Dorian by utilizing this note right here at the 14th fret instead of the 13th fret of the B string. And that's more of a Dorian flavor, and he hits that note a couple of times as well. So anyway, we start off right here with a rake down this little, kind of like a B minor, actually A minor, because we're tuned down, like I said. Rate the bottom 4 strings, 16, 16, 15, 14. And then you let that note ring out, the 14th fret of the high E. And then we're into that little lick. 15, 14, 12 of the high E with a double hit on the 14 and a double hit on the 12. And then slide out of that last note. And then we're into this. So now we're running right down the B string from 15 to 14 to 12 to 10. Starting it off with a couple of dead muted notes. And when you get to that 10, you're going to hang on that 10 just a little bit longer than all the other notes. And then you're going to back it up to 8, 7, and finish on the 9 of the G. And then we're into this. So we're going to go 9 of the G, down to 7, onto the 8, pull off back to the 7 of the B. And then we're going 9, G, down to 7 of the B, pulling off 9 off to 7 of the G, and then finishing up on 10 of the D. Kind of like that. So from the beginning. And now we're into this. So we're sliding into the 9th fret of the G, but with a couple of dead muted notes just before the slide. And then up to the 10 of the D. Down to the 8, slide into 10, slide back to 8. For a double hit. And then we're into this. So we're raking down the bottom 3 strings, the same kind of little chord that we started with, 16, 15, 14, right on to the 15 very quickly of the high E. And then 14, and then back to 12 for a double hit. And then back onto the 15 for a couple of hits, with starting it with a dead muted note. And then just riding right up kind of the pentatonic shape. Except we're hitting that note at 14. And finishing with a nice full step bend at 14 of the G. And then we're into this. So we're doing 14, 12, 11 of the G after the bend. And then you're going to go 12, 11, 9, slide back to 11. And then we're into this. Nine off to 8, slide into 11. Finishing on the 9 of the D. So up to that point, and now we're into this. We're going to go 9, 11 of the D, down to 8 of the G, then up to 9 of the G, and then down to 7 of the B, and then up to 9 of the B. Now between each one of those notes, there's a dead muted note. You see that? And then we're going to go up to 10 of the B, and then we're going to start moving it up to 12, to 13, to 14, to 15. Gets a little chromatic here. And at this point, as soon as we move from the 9 to the 10, we're going to start sliding into the next note instead of hitting a dead muted note before the note. And you're going to want to accentuate the note that you're sliding into. So we're going to slide in from 9 to 10, then we're going to slide in from 10 to 12, 12 to 13, 13 to 14, 14 to 15, kind of like this. And then we're into this. Doing this whole thing right down the B string with my index finger. So coming off the 15, we're going 14 to 13 with a double hit, and then we're going to go 11 to 10 for a double hit, and then a double hit at 8 to finish it up. So. And then the solo finishes up with this. So we're coming back into this position again at the 15th fret, and then we're going to go 15, 14, 13, 12. And then we're going to jump up to the B string and do the same thing. But we're going, when we get to the B string and we get back to the 12, we're going to continue on to the 11 and then on to the 10 and then back it up to the 8. So the chromatic on the high E, 15, 14, 13, 12, back to 8, full step bend. And as the solo's fading out, you can hear him give that bend a release, another bend, and then sliding it back to 7. Kind of like that. It's fading out at that point. So let me just run through the whole solo one more time, and then we'll move on to the interlude kind of solo. And that's pretty much that solo. So let's move on to the interlude section of the song, which is repeated, I think, twice throughout the track. Kind of that. It's all going right between 2 frets, actually. The 15th fret of the B down to 14 of the high E. Just giving that a full step bend release. Pick it when it gets back to the natural note at 15. Now under that is another guitar doing this. Bending 17 of the high E for a bend release. The other guitar, back to the original guitar. So we're bending that 15 of the B, catching the 14 of the high E back into another bend at 15, giving that a full step bend, kill it the moment you get it to the top. And then you're going to release it, bend it again, and when you get it to the top again, you're going to pick it right at pitch. Kind of like that. You can cheat this and go down to the 12 if you like. David Gilmour does this a lot, bending a note, getting it right to pitch, and then picking it again while the actual bent note. And though it sounds like a static note, it's not. It's the bent note bent perfectly to pitch. It's not easy to do. Getting that note right to pitch and then picking again. But again, like I said, you could bend that and go off to the 12. So that is the opening of that. Other guitar. Back to the original. Flat, sorry. Now there's another guitar going even higher up here at the 21st fret, 22nd fret actually, giving it a double pump release. Back to the original guitar. Second guitar again. Playing that again. Now we're going to bend this note again. Back to the original natural note. And then you're going to back up to 13, off to 12, back to 13. Now we're going to bend that 13, add some vibrato to it, move it up to 15 for a bend, back to 13, off to 12, back onto the natural note at 13. We're going to bend that 13 again, back up to 15, into that. So when we move up to 15 the second time, you're going to release the bend, and as it's about halfway down, you're going to catch the 14 of the high E. And then you're going to go 15, 12 of the D, down to 13, slide it into 15 of the high E. Into this. So, that little section there. We're going to take that note at 15, give it a full step bend release. Up to 17 of the B for a half step bend release. And off to the 14 of the G. Of the G. Now we're going to slide into 12 of the B, 15 back to 12, 13, slide into 15 again, and do the exact same thing we just did. Off to 14 of the G, and then quietly slide it back to 12. And that is the interlude solo. One more time. Second guitar. Second guitar. Original guitar. Second guitar. Bend it again. Release. 13, 12, 13. Bend it again. Bend that 13 again. 15. Slide to 12. Slide back to 12 of the G to finish that solo. So we're about halfway home here, maybe a little less because we still have the long main solo to go and then the outro solo. But so let's dig into the, I guess we'll call it part 3 of this video, and the main clean solo, the solo where he turns off a lot of the effects, no warble from the rotating speaker, and less delay, less reverb. And let's dig into that one. Let's have a quick playthrough of that one first. Little mistake here and there, but pretty close. And so let's dig into how to play this one. All right, so we start this main solo off with a full step bend at the 15th fret of the B string, and you give it some vibrato when you get it up there. And then you kind of just release it and let it die. And then you're going to jump up to the 15th fret of the B again, but you're going to do a little shift. We're doing the bend with our ring finger. And now you're going to shift to the 15th of the B with your index. And catch the 17th of the high E and give it a full step bend. And give that a little shake while you have it up there. And now you're going to jump up to the 19th fret of the high E, give it a step and a half bend. And then you're going to release it off to the 18 and then back onto the 19. And then you're going to back it up to the this 12th fret position again. Hit the 12 of the B, 15 of the high E for a full step bend release. So nothing too difficult up to that point. Some nice bends, this one. And then we're into this. So we're grabbing a double stop here at the 14th fret, pre-bending it, and then slow releasing it off to the 12 of the G. And then you're going to grab the 14 of the D, slide out of it, and immediately when you get about halfway down the neck, slide right back into the 14 of the A. Kind of like that. And then finish on the 12 of the D. And then we're into this. So a lot of fuzz going on here, really hard on the studio recording to hear every note that he's hitting here, but I think this is it. So you're going to grab the 2nd fret of the G, give it a full step bend release, and then pull it off to open. And then pull it off to open again. And then you're going to ride up the open strings until you get to the low E. You're going to grab the 3 of the low E, pull it off to open, and then pick it again. Kind of like that. And it's all much quicker than what I was just playing it. So up to that point. And then we're into this. That little lick there. So we're starting with a couple of dead muted notes and then a slide into 15 of the high E, and then you're going to catch the 14. Sorry, slide into 15 of the B and then catch the 14 of the high E. So somewhere around here at about the 9th fret or so, a couple of dead muted notes. And then a slide into 15 of the B, catch the 14 of the high E. And then a little trill between 14 and 17. Back off to the 14. And then this lovely little lick. Lots of little slides. 14, slide it back to 12. Pick it again. And then a little slide from 14 to 12 to 14 back to 12. And then resolve it to the 12 of the B. And then one final static staccato note there at the 15th of the high E. So up to that point. And then we're into this. So we're going to grab the little pull off from 15 back to 12, and then back onto 15 for a full step bend. And full step bend, when you get that full step bend at the 15th fret of the high E up there, you're going to kill the note immediately, and then roll up for a full step bend at the 15th of the B. This part's a little tricky. Kill, onto the 15 of the B for a full step bend. And then we're into this. So we're going to give that 15 another bend, and then catch the 12, the note that we're bending up to on the high E, onto the 14 for a half step bend release, back onto the 15 of the B, and then another full step bend. So up to that point from the little slide. And then we're into this. So we're going to bend that 15 again, catch the 12 of the high E again, and then pull off 15 back to 12 of the high E. And then we're going to grab that 15 of the high E again, pre-bend it. Kind of like that. Back it up to 10, slide it in 12. Pre-bend. Onto the 15 of the B, down to the 14 of the high E. And then we're into this. So we're starting on 14 of the high E, and then you're going to grab 15, pull off to 14, pull off to 12. And then you're going to grab 14, slide it into 15, into 17, and then you're going to pull off back to 15, back onto 17, slide it into 19. Or you could bend that 15. Either or, I think they both work. It's kind of hard to hear exactly what he's doing, whether he's bending or sliding, because bends and slides kind of sound very similar sometimes. I like to slide in and give it some vibrato. So up to that point, from the beginning. Gain going on here. I'm losing that note. And now we're into the dog barking. And so we're grabbing the second fret. I'm a little out of tune, sorry about that. Grabbing the second fret of the G string, giving it a full step bend, and you're going to just keep bending, releasing. And pinch harmonics, as many as you can get in there. And then you're finally going to, after about 10 of them, I think, you're going to pull off to the open G, and then when you're pulling your finger off, you're going to catch the open B with it. Kind of like that. And then into just an E major power chord. And then into E major power chord. And then just a little double stop there at the 7th fret on the G and the B. And then just slide out of that. And then we're into this. It's very similar to what we were doing earlier in this 12th fret position, all on the 12s and 15s. A little pull off from 15 to 12 of the high E, and then you're going to do it 3 more times. And then you're going to back onto the 15 for a full step bend release. And again, you're going to have to do this little jumping roll right into another bend at the 15th of the B string. Get that note up there, kill it on the high E, and then immediately jump to the B string. And then that same little lick we just played a little bit earlier on. Bending 15, grabbing the 12 of the high E onto the 14 for a half step bend, that little lick. Back onto the 15th of the B for a full step bend. And then we're finishing the solo with this. 14, 15, 17, 19 of the high E. And then stay on that 19, give it a little half step bend. Little half step bend release. Back it up to 17 for a full step bend release. Back it up to 15 for a full step bend release. And then off to 14 to finish the solo. So let's take that solo right from the top, and then we'll move on to the outro solo. And that's the end of the main clean solo. And now we're going to have a look at the part 4 of this video, I guess, of the outro solo. So just going to play through that, and then we'll dig into how to play it. To that same melody from earlier. So it starts with a slide into the 19th fret of the B string, and when you get it in there, you're going to give it a 1.5 bend. And then release it back to the natural note at 19. And then you're going to back it up to 15, give that a full step bend, and then quickly jump to the 14 of the G and give that a full step bend. And that bend at 14, you're going to release it off to 12, and then you're going to go back onto 14 again. And then back it up to 9 of the G. kind of like that. And then very quickly before we move on to the next section, 9 of the G, 7/8 of the B. And then we're into this little kind of a scale run. I don't know if you really call that a scale run, but it's kind of nifty. So it starts a couple of dead muted notes, pull off from 8 to 7. And then 3 pull-offs from 9 to 7 of the G, and then you're going to do the exact same thing on the D string. Back it up to 5, slide into 7, slide back to 5. One more time. And then into this. Overbent that a little bit, so we're going to slide into 9 of the D, 7/9 of the G. Give that a 1.5 bend release. And then we got to do a very quick little shift up here into the higher registers, but before we do that, just going to take this solo from the top. Quick shift, sliding into 20. Now this is where you need a 22 fret guitar or more. You're going to have to do some crafty bending if you only have a 21 fret guitar, but because we do get up to the 22nd fret here. So and we get into some big bends there. So sliding into 20 of the B string, back to 19, back onto 20. Full step bend release, up to 22 of the B, up to 22, down to a 19 of the high E, back up to 22 of the B, back down to 19 of the high E, on to 22 of the high E. And then a double pump of that 22nd fret of the high E. One more time. And now you're going to release that double pump a half step, so you're holding that note a half step bent. Because there is, unless you have a 23rd fret, there's no note there, so you got to kind of release the bend a half step. And if you're playing this on a 21 fret guitar and you're bending that note a step and a half, the 21st fret a step and a half, you're going to release it a full step, and it'll still be a half step bent. So. And then you're going to get off to the 20th fret, bounce it off to the 19, double hit at the 20, off to 19, and then we're going to do this little ascending right down the scale, hitting the note and then sliding it back to the next note in the scale. So we're going 19 to 17 to 16, 14, 12, 11, 9, 7, 5, 4, 2, open. Kind of like that. One more time from the double pump high note here. And now I play the entire thing on the E string with my index finger. And then it finishes up with, you move to the B string, sliding 5 to 4, back to 2, and a double hit of the open B. And then you're going to do a couple of little pull-offs from 2 to open. Yeah, kind of hammer-on pull-offs. Slide it into 3, 2 to 3 to 5, and then 3 to 5 to 6, 5 to 6 to 8. Kind of like that. So let's take it from that big double bend again. That's that part there. And then we're into this very odd little section where there's multiple, there's synthesizers, and he's doing a little whole note scale run here, and it's double tracked, and there's harmonies and whatnot. But this is the one I like to play. Well, actually, in my performance below, I played it here. So it starts on the 18, 16, 14, and then you just back the whole thing up all the way down the neck in whole steps. And then you grab the 3 of the G, slide it into 5 to finish it. And there's another one doing this, starting on the 16th fret and doing the exact same thing, whole steps all the way down the E string. And finishing the same way onto the 3, sliding into 5. So one guitar's doing this. The other one's doing this. They're just one step apart. You know the part. It sounds very odd. But, and then we're into this. And that finishes the solo. Grabbing 4 of the G string, off to 2, on to 4 of the D. And then a couple of trills between 2 and 4. And then open D onto 2. And then a little half step bend. Half step bend at the 4, off to 2. 2 more little trills, pull-offs from 4 to 2. And then 3 pull-offs from 5 to 2 of the A. And then 3 to open of the low E. Kind of like that. And it's all buried in fuzz, so it's kind of hard to hear exactly what he's doing there. And then back into the interlude melody. And that, my friends, is how you play all of the solos to pigs. Dogs from David Gilmour, the great David Gilmour and Pink Floyd. I certainly hope that helped you out. Drop me a subscribe if you haven't done that already. That would be awfully nice. I hope you're well in your little guitar corner of the world, wherever that may be. And we will see you next time. Cheers.